Number 5, Godzilla vs. Kong, rating 4 out of 5. Okay, folks, time for a little story. Let me just say, years ago, in a time that feels like another life, there was this thing called a pandemic. It sucked, and it still is causing a great deal of pain and misery to this day. Long story short, this caused a lot of changes in everyday life, to the point where you may have been in areas that were, or maybe I should say you were in places where, you would have social distancing, you would have businesses that were closed, or you would have places that, it could only allow a few people in. This, from a entertainment perspective, it caused a lot of delays. Let's just say that. Delays in production. Godzilla vs. Kong being one of them. And though I started off in a, wow, that's kind of depressing, Tom. It's okay. It's about to get better. So, by the time Godzilla vs. Kong was coming out, it was in the month of March, and that's my birthday time. As a birthday gift, my wife gave me, like the greatest birthday gift of all, which was renting out an entire movie theater so that I could bring my friends in and we could watch my favorite movie monsters clash. Pretty big deal. And I hadn't seen my friends in like over a year due to the COVID, the lockdowns, and all that stuff. So, to say that this movie holds a special place in my heart. Or maybe the other way around, I hold a special place in my heart for this movie. I absolutely love and cherish this movie. It's one of my son's favorite movies. I mean, there's so much about this film to unpack that... Okay, so let's start with the some of the main highlights. To me, one of the breakthrough characters introduced to the MonsterVerse is Gia. She is Kong's friend, and I feel like she is kind of like Kong's tether, not only to the human race, but also in certain respects, kind of like his guide to becoming a better character, a better Titan. The show Skull Island explored this, where, his human companions would teach Kong a degree of not only humility, but also discovering his own unique humanity. I feel like this movie, in many respects, solidified something truly important, and I know Godzilla fans are going to hate me for saying this, but Kong is the soul of the MonsterVerse. I would argue he's its front runner, or maybe his maybe not front runner, his spokesperson. Front runner could be the best way of explaining it too, but I'll elaborate more about what I mean. So Kong is quite possibly the only Titan in the entire MonsterVerse that mainstream audiences can relate to. And that's because he is a giant ape. He has relatable expressions. He winces in pain. You could tell when he's angry. You could tell when he's excited. You could tell when he's sad. The fact that, we fellow apes can relate to him is something that shouldn't be disregarded or despised. It's actually a strength, and I'm happy that the MonsterVerse, that the filmmakers capitalized on it. What I love about this, what I truly love, is that Kong has character arcs. Not only in this movie, but in the next film, which we'll get to shortly. In this movie, Kong discovers he's not, he has heritage. He has a legacy. And though, eventually he'll discover that he's not the last remaining member of his kind, he does get to go to Hollow Earth the originating point of not only the Titans, but his own kind, his people. But there he finds his battle axe, he discovers his, throne, which, leads to him becoming King Kong. But also leaves plenty of room for growth. I mean, he kind of discovers that he and Godzilla's kind, their race, their species have been at war. There was an ancient rivalry and all that jazz. But Kong himself eventually, just like Godzilla, they break the chain. They manage to kind of learn from the humans, I wish the humans could learn from the humans, and war bad, let's stop hating each other. But I do love how Kong is depicted, and this movie is this very strong, I'd say, testament to the fact that making Kong the face of the MonsterVerse was one of the best decisions they could have made. And Kong fighting Godzilla, especially whether it's on a on a U.S. carrier ship or in Hong Kong. Oh my God! Oh my Godzilla! It's so awesome. Speaking of which, the G-Man is also such a badass in this movie. I mean, again, I haven't really said this yet, but it should be pretty clear by now. I love the MonsterVerse, and I love its depiction of Godzilla. And here, he's on a mission. We, for the most part, for most of the movie, think he's maybe gone bad. But in fact, he's chasing the ghost of his arch nemesis and this new, would-be contender to the throne. This new kid on the block, Kong, is getting in his way. And I do love, despite the fact, I did mention that it's so much easier for us to relate to Kong due to, him, we're both apes, we both share, and we have the same feelings and expressions. Kong is far more relatable. They do manage to make Godzilla relatable too, and it's hard to see, but at times his expressions are just perfect. I mean, he even laughs when he burns Kong's back catches him with his heat beam. I gotta say, I love Mechagodzilla. I'm so happy he ended up in this movie. I know it was predictable. I mean, who didn't predict that, we would get Godzilla and Kong fighting a couple times, but eventually they're gonna team up, right, against a greater enemy, right, a common enemy. And, there's a reason why that trope is so, why it's a thing. Because it's awesome. Godzilla and Kong fight Mechagodzilla. I never thought I'd see the day when Kong would fight Mechagodzilla. That's so awesome. And this Mechagodzilla, I love the design. I love how it doesn't look slick and clean. It doesn't look like it's right off the assembly line. It's brand new, like some of the other previous Mechagodzilla models. This one looks like a true grim, dark apex hunter. It's designed to terminate Godzilla and his kind, and it shows, and I loved it. There's so many things about this movie that it's got so much rewatchability to it. I can watch this movie again and again for many years to come. The visual aesthetics, again, I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, it's really great to see what so many of these filmmakers were able to achieve, and to see some of my favorite characters come to life, come together in this movie that defied all odds. I mean, I mentioned earlier how it had been delayed due to COVID, and then I gave my personal story of how me and my friends, we went to go, after not seeing each other for a year, we were able to see this movie together, and share in that experience. But it's also really cool that this was the first major motion picture to come out after, due to the COVID delays. And it kind of helped bring cinema back in a way. While I don't think it's completely recovered, I mean, it's a different world now with streaming and such, but Godzilla vs. Kong absolutely paved the way, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy, and as a Godzilla fan, knowing that Godzilla played a part in trying to bring some stability back after so much, that happened, and how this movie helped, put a smile on many faces. It helped make us feel good again. That's something that I think these filmmakers should pat themselves on their back. This is a job well done. And also, just seeing these two legends face off on the big screen. I mean, King Kong vs. Godzilla is a classic. It's one of the best Godzilla films ever made. And it's nice to see that even now, modern audiences can still enjoy these two. And yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong, solid entry. It has issues, of course. There are some issues with the plot, with the story. Some of the humans are also kind of two-dimensional, not that interesting. But overall, I think this was a great step. It was a step in the right direction, and it pretty much single-handedly not only helped bring cinemas back to life, but I'd say it reignited the MonsterVerse. Unfortunately, Godzilla King of the Monsters, didn't perform that well at the box office, and there was a time where I thought Godzilla, like many Godzilla fans, we thought Godzilla vs. Kong was going to be the final entry in the MonsterVerse. But it did so well, the MonsterVerse evolved and thrived, and I think this